Ayo! Welcome to episode 8 of Create This Book 3 by Mariah Elizabeth and Ashleigh Monet. That would be me. As always, the link to all of my Create This Book 3 videos can be found in the description. We have a honker of an episode this week. 5 prompts this week. I cannot wait to get started, so enough of me talking. Let's jump right in and see what I can create. Okay, the prompt we're kicking things off with is create a national holiday. We have to write the date and declare it some sort of day, and then say how to best celebrate that day. Priority 1 is covering up this bleed through of my chicken and waffles. Goodbye. I made the edges look a little different this time. I was inspired by ashes.
Ring around the roses, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
You know, they say that song is about the Black Plague, which works because my national holiday is National Plague Prevention Day. If you're like, what? Stay with me. This has some historical significance, so sit back for a little story time. So after conquering Egypt, the Romans realized that cats come in handy for protecting crops from pests. So they brought them back to Europe. However, in the 13th century, Pope Gregory IX declared a link between cats, Satanism, and witchcraft. As a result, cats were targeted for mass extermination. Many scholars believe that the Black Plague, one of the most fatal pandemics in human history, was able to gain such a foothold in Europe, causing the deaths of as much as 60% of the European population, as a direct result of depleted cat population. As the number of cats decreased, the number of rats increased greatly, and the organisms that caused the bubonic plague were harbored on those rats. So in conclusion, cats prevent the plague. Now, there is some debate on how legitimate this theory is. Like, the plague was awful everywhere, even in nations with cats, but it was so bad in Europe. So I'm sticking with the pro-cat scholars and their theories. I decided to decorate the page with this drawing of a plague doctor cradling a kitty. Now, why did the plague doctors have to look so creepy? Like, imagine being a child on death's doorstep and in comes your doctor, and he looks like a literal scavenger there to snack on your carcass. Who thought this through? I made the kitty an orange tabby. I knew I wanted to make the background purple, so I thought the orange would be like a cute little contrast. And of course, the plague doctor's all dressed in black, so I've got to do 50 shades of gray just so he doesn't look like a big black blob. Now time for that purple background, and if you've forgotten, because I certainly had at this point, the prompt said I should explain the best way to celebrate this holiday. Well, that's simply gotta be adopt a cat! Glue it into the book. And here it is, all finished. I just love this one. I love the narrative that society would crumble without cats, and adopting a cat is the ultimate plague prevention plan because let's be real, cats simply are supreme. Everyone should get one anyways. Now for our next prompt, create symmetry. Draw something that's perfectly symmetrical. Okay, first off, nobody's perfect. I felt like my best shot at something perfectly symmetrical was to do another ink blot. Pressing the pages together creates near perfect symmetry. Only this time, instead of trying to find the image after the paint's on the page, I'm gonna try and take control and make the image. I was inspired by the butterfly of the prompt, but I don't want to make a butterfly. I want to make a moth. My personal favorite, it is no stranger to this channel, the death head moth. I chose to use metallic gold for the background. I figured that would really make it pop, and boy was I right. Then, using a precision tip squeezy bottle, technical term, I just added the moth's black details little by little. Add a little paint, close the book, open it up, add a little more. At one point, the pages stuck together. I guess I had the book closed for longer than 2 seconds. Shame on me. There was a lot of opening and closing. Once I got the hang of it, though, I was actually having a lot of fun with this one. Once I felt good about where all the black was, I went back in to add some details. First with white, I gotta fix that skull and add a few markings to the wings. And then for fun, we're gonna add in a few flecks of gold as well. It's so pretty. And that's that. That one felt super quick and simple, but I sure do like it. It was a lot of fun to deliberately try to create something with this method. And I'm glad I got to add a little nod to my favorite little buggy. Next up, we have create a garden. Draw a beautiful garden with vegetables, flowers, and or any other plants you like. Oh, if you know me, you know that plants and I are just two things that ought not to be mixed. So I truly have zero interest in taking up gardening. I can't have any more plant blood on my hands. That being said, if I was forced to have some sort of garden, as Mariah has forced me to with this prompt, I suppose I would consider a little windowsill herb garden. That could be fairly low maintenance. So using acrylic, I started painting a little kitchen window. And under that, a sink, and of course the counter. I tried doing marble. It looks so bad. Don't look. Now, while the idea of an herb garden is all good and well, the practicalities of it are a little fuzzy, due in large part to the fuzzy creatures I have in my home. Let's be real about what would happen should I take up this particular type of low-level gardening as a hobby. Starting with some terracotta pots and our herbs. Look, this one has had a little whoopsie. Now, who could have done that? How about this furry little devil? Yes, that is 2 prompts this week so far with a cat theme. Sorry to the few of you out there that aren't cat enthusiasts. I can't help it. They're so cute. Especially this little lady, up to no good. I decided to make her a little silver tabby. I guess I'm feeling the tabbies this week. So you might have noticed that I started this spread with acrylic and have transitioned into using colored pencils instead. Who does that? Me, I do that. I felt like for some reason I was struggling way too much with the paint on this day. So rather than risk ruining the kitty, which is the best part of the drawing, I just switched over to colored pencils. I don't know. It's just one of them days. I did fill in these prompt letters and zhuzh it up with a little plant life to surround it. Cute! And just like that, another one down. I do like this one. The mix of acrylic on one half and the colored pencil on the other is a little bit triggering for me. But altogether, it's just so cute. I need to get over that. On to the next, we have Create Swirls. Put your pen or pencil on this page and move it in a swirly motion for 20 seconds. I've started by taping off the page, and now I want to lay down my background colors. For the majority of the page, I chose a bold turquoise. This is such a pretty color. Teals like these are the only blues I like. Fun fact. I also went in with some lightened and darkened teals for some highlights and lowlights. And while I was applying this paint in a swirly motion, don't worry, these are not the swirls. I should have let it dry more, but I got impatient. I thought if I used a paint pen, it would have a better shot at working on the less dry spots, but I was wrong, and there were definitely some breaks in my lines. Poo. Pulled the tape off, and once it was truly dry, yes, truly, I went over all the lines with a marker. I mean, that alone was looking kind of cool already. If I had used like a fun gel pen instead, that could have been it. I could have called it there. I could have walked away. But I'm me, and I like to make something simple take 3 hours. So I move forward with another Pinterest Zentangle. With this one, we go into all of those negative spaces between the swirls and create a bunch of rounded cells. No sharp corners here. This step alone took forever. And we're just getting started, guys. Buckle up. We're in it for the long haul. Once the cells were nice and rounded, then I got to go in with colored pencils and add some shading to the edges of each. Another eternity later, and they're starting to come to life. This hack is supposed to leave you with what looks like little river rocks or like pebbles. But with the color of these, I think that's just gonna set it off. They'll look like polished turquoise. Just you wait. Fancy up that prompt with the same turquoise. And now for my favy, juicy highlight time. Now at this point, these were looking more like bubbles, but I realized that I had skipped a step. Gotta go in with that micron and add these itty bitty little cracks all over each stone. There we go. That's looking more like what we're going for. And now there are a bunch of these dark voids where I got a little aggressive with my cell rounding. Too much black there, so I decided to go through with my gold gel pen and fill in the voids with a little shing shang. Ugh, love that contrast. The teal and gold together is just fire! And there it is. I love the look of this. It took so long, but it was quite relaxing. I'm telling you guys, I had some true crime going on in the background. I was doing my Zentangle. This was literally my happy place for a couple of hours. Highly recommend. Now on to the last prompt of the week. Create Fear. Draw the most terrifying monster you can come up with. This kind of prompt is my jam. Warning, this will get creepy. I will insert some jump scare clips, so if you don't love horror and you want to skip ahead to the recap, now would be the time. All right, for those still here, you guys are my people. So for this prompt, I wanted to cocktail all of the characters that give me the creeps into an ultra creepster. Let's start with the red-faced demon from Insidious. This guy freaks me out.
I said, what do you want?
The clicking.
It said Dalton. I can still hear that voice.
No thank you. Okay, sure, he kind of has a Darth Maul vibe. But to be honest, that dude scared me as a kid too. I wanted to take those glowing yellow eyes from him and the teeth, only make them longer and sharper. My next Oogie Boogie is Diana from Lights Out.
Esther?
Again with the clicking. Ugh. Anyways, Diana had me fully terrified until you find out what she actually is, but whatever. Let's stick with opening scene Diana. Terrifying. Anyways, I wanted to steal that super creepy, skinny, clicking body from her. And those hands with the claw-like fingers, I mean, that could come from both her and the red-faced demon, honestly. My creature needed some hair. I struggled with what I should do and settled with this kind of creepy, stringy, in-your-face look. Now, it was not my intention, but looking at it now, I kind of get the vibes from the Sinister dude. Bonus horror icon that I tossed in there. But okay, the last one I was inspired by was the nun from the Conjuring universe. Ooh, that one, she gets me.
Who's that?
Oh, I hate when they just creepily stand there. After seeing this movie, I'd imagine waking up at night to pee, stepping out into my hallway and seeing that. No, thanks. Anyway, she's got those same glowing yellow eyes as the Insidious dude, and I really wanted to draw from her face for my creature in the coloring process. While in general, I made the body a deep dark gray, fading to black for the extremities, I kept the face white and added the deep gray tones around the eyes and mouth with that veiny look. Ooh yeah, that's given a little nun. Added a few highlights, then went through and toned them down. And I'm happy with this thing. It's time to shift focus to the background. I decided to write out the movies from whence this creature has been inspired. Sinister, The Nun, Insidious, and Lights Out. And then for the background, blood red. My favorite color. Now, normally I would just cut this out and glue it in, but I thought it would be fun and fitting to do this kind of torn edge on this one. And now for the prompt. I love the skull and raven combo, but that skull is jacked. Let's fix it. There, that's a bit better. And let's add some dripping blood, because I mean, if there was ever a prompt that calls for it, it's this one. And now we can glue it in. I love it so much. I could see this creepster standing creepily at the end of a darkened hallway or in the shadowy corner of a darkened bedroom, just clicking away with its skinny, creepy body and claws. And those eyes just glowing. Oh, all of the things that have a direct line to my sense of terror. Yeesh. Well, that was prompt number 5, which means we are done for this week. We created a national holiday with a nod to some history surrounding the Black Plague. We created National Plague Prevention Day, where everyone adopts a cat as preventive healthcare. Love this plague doctor and his sweet little kitty. We created Symmetry, using the ink blot method to create a nearly perfectly symmetrical death head moth. I love those darn moths. Sorry if you guys are getting sick of them, but they're not going anywhere. I had a lot of fun making this one, and I am obsessed with the shine from the gold paint. We created a garden. The only garden I'd ever consider is this windowsill spice and herb garden, but here we see that even that could go wrong for me. This little devious cat, DGAF, she's doing whatever she wants, and that means sayonara to my sweet little herbs. And this is why I'll never have a garden. We created swirls, using another fun Pinterest Zentangle to turn a 20-second swirl pattern into a slew of turquoise polished pebbles with some more shimmery gold accents. Anything with gold, and clearly I am happy. This is so pretty, and it was hella relaxing to make. And lastly, we created Fear. I got to create my own spooky dooky creature, which is really just a compilation of the features that terrify me most from the horror creatures that actually make me feel genuine fear. I don't even know if this thing is a guy or a gal, but if I saw anything like it, I'd die. I loved making this one, totally up my alley. Thank you, Mariah, for putting in a prompt like this, because that made my week. Another week down. Oh, that reminds me. I did have a few people asking about how big the book is getting. It's very deceptive. From the side, you would think we were like halfway through the book. But if I pinch the pages at the spine so that they lay as flat as possible, you can see we're maybe like a third of the way through at best. That's how much this book grows as we add to it. But yeah, we're making progress. Still got a ways to go, but we're doing this, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.